All right, guys. So there's a good chance a recession might be coming. So how are we going to prepare for it? What do we need to do? What should we do? Let's start off with just talking about a recession. So, what is it? Well, a recession occurs when a region's economy declines over several months or years. And during these periods, a region's GDP, or gross domestic product, or the total value of the goods and services it provides drops. Now, at the same time, dramatic changes might occur in the price of commodities like oil, gas, right? Previously profitable industries may suddenly become a lot less valuable. Consumers may see increased inflation or higher than normal levels of unemployment. As a result, consumer confidence is going to suffer, meaning that people may be less willing to even spend any money. Let's say 2008, for example. Americans experienced a significant recession following the sudden collapse of the U.S. housing market. Right? There's so many things that we can look back on and see that a lot of bad stuff happens during recession. So we kind of need to get ourselves ahead of it. So what happens, in a recession? So during periods of recession, companies make fewer sales. Economic growth, it stalls or even becomes non-existent. To cut rising costs, organizations might lay off large portions of their staff, right, resulting in widespread unemployment. Now, at the same time, hiring slows down, making it difficult for the newly unemployed to find another job. Investments like stocks and real estate tend to lose money, meaning that retirement and other savings account they can suffer. Lenders they might also respond to the increased financial uncertainty by, raising their lending requirements, making it much more difficult for people to qualify for new credit accounts. Recessions are an unavoidable part of any economy, but you can weather the storm by anticipating challenges early and preparing for the future. We're going to go over a couple things to help you do that to plan for these uncertain times. So, one of the first things that we need to do is we need to kind of take stock of what your financial priorities might be. One of the hardest parts of a recession is not knowing what comes next. When are things even going to get better? And that's why you got to be clear about where you stand financially. Ask yourself some questions like, how much cash do I have on hand? How much cash can I get my hands on quickly if I need it? How much debt do I have? Credit card debt, student loans, all of that. What are my basic monthly living expenses? Food, shelter, health insurance, transportation, even childcare. And do you have any major life events coming up with significant expenses? Weddings, a baby, retirement. Now is the time to understand, what you're spending today in the day to day so you can anticipate your needs over the next 5, 6 plus months. If you're well prepared for a recession, a job loss, or other financial hurdle, you'll have an emergency fund that covers 3 to 6 months of living expenses and hopefully a healthy nest egg for retirement. If you don't have at least 3 to 6 months of your basic expenses in cash, then you need to start with that as your financial goal. Start by developing a basic understanding of how you are spending your money and then building a budget. To start building a budget, just figure out your total household income from all sources, including you, your spouse or partner if you have one, any side hustles that bring in cash. Include income from investments and any other sources, even child support. Then list your monthly expenses: rent or mortgage, utilities, groceries, you know, any medicine and medical needs, childcare costs, home and auto maintenance, debt payments, insurance premiums, just everything, regular expenses, and including those you only pay annually. Now, add everything up to understand whether you're spending more, less, or roughly the same as your take home pay each month. Then finally, you're going to prioritize your essential expenses and make sure you identify the minimum you can spend in a given month to get by, just in case you or your spouse, right, experience a job loss. Now, your budget might need to adapt in preparation for a recession, but that's fine. Just try to cut down on those non essential spendings: entertainment, cable, clothing. While it's unrealistic to think you can cut out all discretionary spending, it's important to separate wants and needs. Looks, look in the areas where you may have overspent, try to figure out why that happened. You might not have extra money right now to put towards your retirement or down payment, which is all right for the short term. Once you get into the habit of reviewing your finances and looking for problem areas, I'll tell you what, that's a fantastic start. It's a great start. So then when we do that, next thing we need to do, focus on your debt repayment if you're able. Right? You might be worried about paying off, outstanding debts in the coming months. Credit card bills, utilities, student loans. If you experience a loss of income, you might have to forego paying one or more of these bills. So it's important to understand which bills you need to pay. After all, if you lose income, you may not be able to pay every bill on time or in full every month. And that's going to have a direct impact on your credit score. Normally, it's important to do whatever you can to keep your credit score intact, but during a recession, that may not be possible. Therefore, you should prioritize how you pay your bills so your available cash covers as many debts as you're able to. Make sure you pay your rent or your mortgage on time and in full. You don't want to face, eviction or foreclosure. Make your car payment, especially if you need a car to get to work. If you're facing an income reduction, maybe contact your student debt lender and ask for a hardship application, which may buy you a few months where you don't have to make a payment. Make at least your minimum payment on your credit card. If that's not possible, contact your credit card company. Try to work out a payment plan. Right? Just know that the creditor will likely freeze your accounts, which will prohibit you from making additional purchases with that card. Continue to keep up with your medical debts if you can. However, do so after other debts are met first. If your health insurance is offered through your employer, you're going to continue to receive health insurance coverage even if your medical bills, pile up. If you buy your own health insurance, whether you're self-employed or for any other reason, be sure you pay your premium on time so your policy isn't canceled. Remember, if you're falling behind, reach out to your creditors and ask for a hardship concession. This might include making interest-only payments on your debt or putting payments into forbearance. You can also check out your local bank or credit union for a personal loan. Now, there are online lenders as well, and your employer may offer a short-term loan program in times of trouble. If you're making your payments on time, ask your creditor, your credit card company, or any other lender about lowering your interest rate. A lot of major utility providers they offer programs that might allow you to pay your bills at a later date or provide other hardship assistance. You never know what agreement you and your creditor can reach if you never ask. Then you gotta consider your career opportunities, both now and in the future, right? Because recessions often result in high levels of unemployment. So it's important to consider how tough economic times could affect your career and then have a backup plan if you have to face that layoff. Start by refreshing connections within your personal network. Be sure to consider not only your coworkers, but also any connections you have outside of your current employer. Having established relationships at a variety of organizations can give you a huge leg up in the job market. You might consider reaching out to your network via social media or offering to meet up in person for coffee or lunch or something like that. It might also help to update your resume and other job hunting tools ahead of time. As you review your past work experience, look for any gaps. Are there places where you could pursue continuing education or additional training? Expanding your skill set is one of the best ways to invest in yourself as an employee. This is true even if you're able to keep your position during a recession. Some workers worried about a layoff, it may be beneficial to pick up a side gig such as freelancing or working for a rideshare. Having an extra stream of income can not only help in the event of a layoff, but can make it easier to build your emergency savings while you're still employed. And then you need that emergency fund we talked about earlier. You need to bolster that sucker up ahead of time. Because even if job cuts or layoffs are looming, put as much cash into your emergency fund as possible. You'll need every bit of it in if the income stops coming in, right? Give up all the extras, takeout, delivery, all that stuff, movies, going out to eat. While tapping into your emergency fund is never a decision you should make lightly, losing a job or being forced to live on a reduced salary it definitely qualifies as a good reason to use some of that emergency fund. However, it's important to rebuild your emergency fund as soon as your financial situation is more stable. Otherwise, when the next emergency hits, you might have to make a tough decision, like withdrawing money from your retirement account or applying for a home equity line of credit. Now, last but not least, make an effort to stay on top of your financial situation. Don't let it get bad. A recession may be an uncertain time, but the best thing you can do is take proactive steps now to prepare yourself, to help you stay on top of your finances, right? You can get some good information online on need to know topics, right? And now more than ever, financial education is important. So you can feel good about where you get, where you are with your money, where you're getting your information, and, how to handle any challenges you might face ahead, right? So hopefully this is going to get you guys thinking, what you need to do in case this recession hits. Like we said, a lot of people seem to think there's going to be a global recession in 2023. So start preparing yourself now. Get yourself to the point of where you need to be able to weather the storm. Right? I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, smash that like button. But until I see you guys in the next video, y'all be safe.